Here is every single offense in college football this year, ranked 1 through 136 from Miami to Kennesaw State. Huge shout out to Kelly Ford Ratings on Twitter, the guy that puts this list together using his own rating system. Let's talk about some of the takeaways from this list. Looking at that elite tier, that top group of teams, I think my biggest takeaway is seeing how high Notre Dame projects this season. One of the takes I've had this year is that I think CJ Carr is going to be the best quarterback that Marcus Freeman has ever had at Notre Dame. And I think the upside with him as the signal caller is huge for Notre Dame. So they could even be higher on this list. They might even be a little underrated. Obviously, the running game has a lot to do with that as well. Georgia being that high, a little bit of a surprise to me. That's probably factoring in some of those portal additions that they've had. And obviously, I think these top five are all next to guaranteed to be pretty fantastic this season. I love the respect that's being shown to some of these high-flying Big 12 offenses. Texas Tech at 10, Kansas State at 16, TCU, Baylor, ASU all in a stack there. We've got some of the offseason darlings like Florida, South Carolina dotting the top 25, and then some respect to some of these group of 5 teams. Boise State all the way up in the top 15 above Texas in this rating, which is pretty heavy there, and Texas, I think, a little lower than they'd like to be. Also note an Ole Miss team that a lot of people think will regress offensively, pretty high up there. As you go down through here, you get some interesting ones like Michigan. They were one of the worst offenses in the power conferences last year, at least passing the ball, and this projects a bounce back. Washington State, pretty high under Jimmy Rogers. But when you start to get to like this column, you start to see some of the worst power conference ones like Iowa, which it's actually a little higher than Iowa typically is, and it's interesting to see them above Nebraska, a team that people think will be solid with Holgorsen at the helm as the OC. Towards the bottom is where we get into the G5 territory. There's also Purdue there at 112, and then of course the worst is Kennesaw State. You got Kent State. Very surprised by the Miami, Ohio edition that low on the list. Same with NIU, Louisiana Tech even. I think they're going to have a much better offense this year. And then disrespect to Hawaii, first and foremost. I think they've got one of the best wide receiver duos, not just in the group of 5, but potentially in college football this season. And so seeing them that low makes me feel a little uneasy there. But let me know down in the comments, what's your biggest takeaway from this list?